Senegal's President Macky Sall has just arrived in Hangzhou for the G20 Summit. He is one of 4 African leaders attending the event in the eastern Chinese city. Now, Sall will attend the summit in his capacity as the chairperson at the new Partnership for African Development. Earlier, the Senegalese president said he would push for the funding of African economies and fight against tax evasion during the G20 Summit. He also hailed the Forum on China-African Cooperation, where during the last summit in Johannesburg, China promised a sum of $60 billion for development of the continent over the next 3 years. Now you are looking at the live feed from the airport there in Hangzhou. The president's airplane just touched down there in the airport. During an interview to Chinese media in Senegal's darker city, he said bilateral trade and economic cooperation between China and Senegal have flourished since the re-establishment of diplomatic ties in 2005. Now, in 2015, bilateral trade topped $2.3 billion. All right, if you're just joining us, you are watching the live feed of Senegal's president's delegation arriving at Hangzhou. We're just waiting for the airplane door to open. His plane just touched down there. As we speak, more and more leaders attending the G20 Summit are arriving in the city of Hangzhou, and the G20 Summit is just around the corner. We're getting close to the opening day. The summit will kick off on this weekend. And before the G20 Summit, we'll have the B20 Summit. As we discussed a little earlier, this is also a significant platform for all the business communities and leaders get involved on critical economic issues, global governance as well. There will also be sideline meetings held along with G20 Summit. For example, BRICS leader will hold talks, and separate events will be held as well. Now, as we speak, the city of Hangzhou has get prepared to host sort of the Olympic event of multilateral meeting. All right, I'm getting the words that the door of the airplane will open in just 30 seconds. Again, we're waiting to see the president of Senegal and his delegation make their appearance. Just a little background on Senegal's cooperation with China. The president was invited because Senegal is the current chair country of the new Partnership for African Development. All right, you are watching the delegation of Senegal arriving in the city of Hangzhou, the host city for China. As a core member of the economic community of West African states, Senegal has devoted itself to achieving regional integration with Africa. And before taking off for China, the president said he wanted to take this G20 summit as an opportunity to call for more foreign investment to Africa. He also says the African Union, the vision of African Union of building up an innovative and intra-connected Africa fits the theme of this year's G20 Summit. The president also mentioned earlier of how China's investment has played a significant role in Africa's development. He adds that African countries hope to further strengthen bilateral ties with China. And as we wait for Senegal president's appearance, let me just bring in our guest, Jacko, joining me in the Beijing studio. What would you be looking for this year's G20 Summit?
Well, it looks like China is actually apparently leading the world with many international affairs. We have to know China is apparently the second largest economy in the world. And if you look back for like 3,000 years of history, China has been the first for like 2,700 years. So, I mean, China is now going back into the world platform. We have seen most Chinese form this country like the Singapore. That has been a very successful example. The Chinese people in the United States are earning a lot of money compared with the other races. I mean, this country is apparently developing quite peacefully.
And how would you expect China's role at this multilateral meeting?
Well, China is leading. I mean, previously people can only listen to United States or probably to part of the Europe. But Europe is actually dividing. I mean, Europe is never agreeing with each other. I mean, if you look back to the history, I mean, I graduated from history from Oxford, so I know quite a lot about their history. You see them fighting against each other. So that's you see the problem with the EU and also the UK leaving the European Union. And people were forced to listen to United States for quite a long while. I mean, economically, politically, all sorts of things. And now China is joining in. So what they are having is that they're having China over here. They have a choice, and US can't do whatever they want in economic affairs, I would say.
And as we wait for President of Senegal, Macky Sall, is making appearance there on our feet now. He's arrived in Hangzhou City for the G20 Summit this weekend. Now, he is the first among all the state and international leaders attending the summit to arrive in the city. You're watching the live feed there in the airport of Hangzhou. He's given a warm welcome by local officials. His plane just touched down. He's making his way. Now, in terms of economic challenges globally at this current stage, what kind of cooperation do you think China and the African continent could put forward?
Well, that brings a huge opportunity for Chinese companies, because if we go to the European market, United States market, we get a huge competition over here. The economy is very mature. The companies are very sophisticated. You try to get the market share out of them, it's very difficult. But Africa is fresh new. It got a huge amount of population. People are not that developed, so China can gain a lot from them. But Africa is also the same thing. They can buy a lot of things from China. Also, they can, even if they don't have the money, they can rent it from China, build the infrastructure, develop the economy, and pay it back later. So all these kind of things adds up. These both economic unities can help with each other.